My new album Heartworm is now available everywhere, and I really hope you guys like it. Check it out now on all streaming services, link in the description. I am sorry you guys had to wait, but we're here. Part 2 of the 500 subscriber special, the grab bag. 20 viewer requested songs, and I'll be covering them all. And I have made you guys wait long enough for this, so let's just get straight into it. Starting with... Actually, Ben, not so fast, there's something we have to discuss first. You see, the least voted song in this video was part of a major tie, and so we had to break the tie. So here's footage from like 10 minutes after the deadline of it being finalized as to what song was going to be featuring in the video. Are you guys ready to spin the wheel?
Let's go!
Let's do this.
Woo, spin it! Come on!
Spinny, spinny.
Spin.
But the choose the song which I fucking roller coaster.
We did it! Congratulations! Save room for us.
I have no idea what that song is.
I haven't heard
Let's
this.
go.
Let's listen to it.
Just save room for us. Just save room for us. Somewhere.
Tinashe has always been one of those names I thought would catch on a bit more. Some of you may recall her on my 2014 list where she made the honorable mentions with her hit 2 On. But considering just how talented she is, I kinda thought she would have had more hits. Take Save Room for Us as an example. As always, Tinashe's vocals are immaculate. Her smooth delivery fits this song so perfectly, and overall I really love her vocal tone. She's heightening and lowering her presence at all the right moments. Overall, it's just a phenomenal performance on her part. And of course, it slots over this dreamy production so perfectly. Unlike our pristine vocalist here, I wasn't too familiar with Mark J before I heard this song, and to be honest, I'm still not too familiar with his work. But I absolutely adore his contributions to the song. There's a nice delicate feel to a lot of this production, and it may be slightly contrasted by the bass groove and the percussion, but in a way it works even better because of the combination. On top of that, the vocals here are layered perfectly. And yeah, I love the heartache in these lyrics, but it really is the sound of the song that makes it for me. So yeah, pretty great stuff. Check it out if you haven't heard it already. Absolutely fantastic. Good shit.
Actually a good song.
That was really... I loved that, yeah. Nice one, Void. Thank you.
But you ain't holding up your end of the bargain, so what you expect me to do? Can't love me if you don't know me. Can't know me if you don't hear me.
So this song, Enough, is from an 11-minute short film on YouTube of the same name. It's a piece on racial discrimination and police brutality, and as that, it's a very good short film. And because of that, I kinda wish I liked this song a lot more than I do, but as it is, this doesn't do it for me. To its credit, from a lyrical standpoint, this song is pretty excellent. But I think over time I've begun to realize that sound is more important to me in a song than lyrics. I will always take a badly written song that sounds good over a well-written song that sounds bad. And in this case, whilst I get the appeal for the sound of the song and I get why it sounds the way it does with the tone of the lyrics and the tone of the topic at hand, I'm sorry, I really just do not like this from a sonic level. I mean, to give the song some credit here, I do like how the background vocals are utilized, but there's something muddy about the sound of this song that I just can't put my finger on. The flows and melodies often feel stilted here, and whilst it's not always bad or anything, I do not like Nathan's delivery on this song. It really is a shame because I do see the potential and the appeal here. But regardless, this just doesn't do it for me. I wouldn't go so far to call it bad, the lyrics do bring it up enough for me to avoid that, and I do again like the background vocals, but on the whole, this just isn't it. Regardless of my own feelings on the song, you should definitely check it out regardless, and I think you should watch the short film too, but in my opinion, this is just okay.
You don't ever hit me
This one's kind of a strange one, to be honest. Largely because at some points throughout the song I cannot stand the production, and at other points it could not be any better, but both points are the same. Pretty much every time the production is left to do its own thing with no vocals over it, you notice how bad it sounds. The percussion is tacky, the synth chords sound reversed and bad. At points it just feels way too empty. But as soon as you put the performers on this song over it, everything just clicks. It's like in kids shows when there's some mystery tool and you have no idea what to do with it whatsoever, but then you find something later on and it just makes sense. And in this case, the mystery mouse tool is LMA. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chip does a pretty decent job here too, but he's better as a presence than a performer, if that makes sense. I like the vibe he brings to the track, but really he doesn't do anything special here. All of the best moments on his verses are the parts where Ella's vocals are coming through. She's really the driving force of this song, to be honest. I've always really enjoyed her vocal style and delivery, but combined with the tone of this production, her parts are just fantastic. She's carrying this song big time, and whilst the song surrounding her isn't bad by any means, she is easily the best part, and without her, I don't think I'd find it nearly as interesting or engaging. So yeah, this is decent stuff. Not the best I've heard from her, but still worth checking out regardless. I like it. It's nice. Spoiler alert, I guess, but this is not the only Illenium song I will be covering in this video, although to be fair, the other one is basically in every grab bag I've ever seen, so who cares. But this one tends to be talked about a little less, and I think the reason for that might just be because it sounds so bad. I first heard this song doing an EDM rank down for Luke's 99, and I didn't like it then, but looking back, I was way too easy on it. If anything, I think the main thing I was too easy on is this vocal performance. I mean, yeah, the range here is impressive, but the delivery is so shrill and annoying. I mean, to be fair, it's only shrill and annoying when it's in the higher register. I think the vocals are actually pretty good on the verses. Some of the pronunciation could use some work, but regardless, it sounds fine. But considering this is an EDM song, you'd think it would be better produced. I mean, yeah, for the most part it just sounds like generic EDM, but there are certain tiny aspects that make it a little bit worse. The clacky percussion and the build-up, the abrasive annoying drop. Sometimes the vocal layering will sound subpar too. The usage of distortion is distracting, and when it's used to try and make the song sound epic at the end, it just falls flat on its face. This song's kind of irritating, to be honest. If you like Illenium, then maybe check this one out, but otherwise, avoid this one. Not worth it. So some of you may be aware if you follow me on other social media that the next list I plan on doing will be for 2004. Of course, I won't do it until the Fantasy Island video is done, but I do have the list basically done for it, and as of now, this is slated to be in the dishonorable mentions for the worst list. Kelly Clarkson, from what I've heard from her, seems to have 3 modes. Pulp filler, stuff where she utilizes the potential in her voice, and generic ballads. And this falls under the latter category. I'm sure there's probably some really significant, meaningful emotion here, but I don't care, it just sounds so boring. Kelly's fine vocally, she has been much better, she has been much worse, but I know she has personality and none of it is coming through here. The composition is dull, and I don't like it at all. The writing here is also kind of a non-presence, which is not a good thing for a ballad. I might hate this song if it was interesting enough to hate. It doesn't really do anything outright terribly. It does everything it's trying to do. It just doesn't do any of it in a way that's interesting or engaging or worth listening to whatsoever. This is a song that exists to be played on the radio and department stores to make it onto Now That's What I Call Music CDs and to be the bathroom break at a wedding. And also, incredibly bizarrely, to be a Disney song? Yeah, you know how Kelly Clarkson named her second album after this song? You know how it was a huge hit for her? This was made for The Princess Diaries. And not even for the first one either. For the second one. This was made for a Disney sequel that no one remembers. And honestly, I could try and fathom up something interesting to say about this song, but I think that sums it up. This is the soundtrack piece to a Disney sequel that no one remembers. And goddamn it, does it ever sound like one. Newborn may start out with an eerie mood with the higher vocals, the piano, and the percussion basically carrying the sonic level of it, but that mood begins to dissipate over the course of the song, and I mean that in the best way possible. It never quite leaves, but as soon as the guitars and bass kick in, oh my god, this song just kicks ass. The mood is only amplified by the way these melodies dance along the singer Matt's tongue. He's absolutely killing it here. I mean, on a sonic level, for the most part, this song is pretty great. I do have a couple of nitpicks with the sound of the song, including some rushed melodies and some choices that don't quite pay off, some occasional moments where I think the mixing could have been a bit better, but it's all made up for by the awesome things this song does do musically. One detail I like is that in every verse the song is a bit faster than the last one. The Circle of Fifths guitar riff is also pretty great, and for what it's worth, the song is pretty well written too, looking at the evolution of technology and how it could coincide with the destruction of our world and our lives. So yeah, a couple of things holding this one back from being truly fantastic like it could be, but on the whole this is still really, really good, and if you haven't heard it, you absolutely should seek it out. To be honest, I've never really cared for the original We Didn't Start the Fire. I never really liked the vocals on that song, and I didn't care for the lyrics, and this cover made me realize why I didn't care for the lyrics, and it's kind of why I love this so much. I mean, let me get the obvious out of the way. In terms of instrumentation and composition, this is fantastic, and not much to say there. I mean, the original has that as a strength too. And I love that it has the feel of the original song without feeling dated at all. Looking at the lyrics though, I think the reason I connect with this one so much more than the original is because I actually lived through this stuff. And as someone who suffered through 2020 and has it all fresh in my mind, this is a perfect way to tribute it. It's the same song, but updated for a new generation in a sense, and I kinda like that. On top of that, I'm gonna say it, Sean Fay Wolf gives a better performance here than the original has. I like the energy he brings to the verses, and his falsetto on the chorus caught me off guard with how good it was. It's not like I was even expecting it to be bad or anything, it's just a case of you hear someone singing something and you're like, hey, you're really good, where has this been? Now, I won't say this song's perfect or anything, I think the vocal layering on the chorus could use some work, but also, I don't give a shit. This is such a great time, such a great tribute, and one of the most iconic moments this community has ever witnessed. The best way to experience this song is on 1st of December 2020, as Listmas season was beginning with Sean Fay Wolf's Worst Songs of 2020 video, and this was the surprise intro. And I am so lucky and grateful that I got to experience it through that, because my jaw genuinely dropped the entire time. Hearing this, seeing this, hell, even just talking about this puts a smile on my face, and this is one of my favorite things to ever come out of the YouTube music reviewing community. Sean, if you ever get an official cover license for this one, feel free to put it on streaming services, I would absolutely listen to it. I mean, hell, if you wanted help distributing it, I'd happily give you a hand there too. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic, and on the off chance you're a viewer of mine who doesn't know who Sean Fay Wolf is, go check him out. He has great content, this cover is fantastic, the video it originated from is fantastic, just go subscribe over there. I'm genuinely proud to be part of a community that puts out stuff as incredible and fun as this. Keep doing what you're doing, Sean, because you're doing it incredibly well. There is a very good reason your channel just keeps growing more and more, and it's only gonna get bigger as you keep going. So, yeah, great work. Those of you familiar with my channel will probably have the understanding that I'm not that fond of Panic at the Disco, and that's kind of true. I've heard 2 of their albums in full, one of which I disliked and one of which I thought was decent. When this band's music sucks, it really sucks, case in point being stuff like Hey Look Ma Made It, which looking back should have been #1 on my worst of 2019 list. That song is so much worse than Someone You Loved. And Brendan Urie is just a terrible person all round. But whilst I think their potential is squandered a lot, when this band is good, it is great. And a perfect example for that is Vegas Lights, because wow, this song's amazing. The attempted irony and cynicism in stuff like Hey Look Ma Made It is awful and fails horribly, but in stuff like Vegas Lights, it seems to work incredibly well to the point of the song. This song serves as an ode to Las Vegas in both its positive aspects and its negative aspects. There's a touristy perspective here despite the fact that Brendan Urie grew up in the city. And there's a lot of cleverly utilized sarcasm in these lyrics. And to top it all off, the song just sounds fantastic. Brendan Urie's vocals are a hit or miss for me, but wow, they hit perfectly here. I like the way the melodies flow, they have an effective punch to them at points. The Sesame Street sample goes hard. Every vocal effect here is placed perfectly, I love the hit of the percussion. The synth work here is incredible and adds to the personality of the song as well. There are a lot of similarities to Blinding Lights here, except it's not quite as good as that song, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a fantastic song in its own right. And hey, considering some of the music Brendan Urie's made even outside of the stuff I covered on my 2019 list, this could be so much worse. No matter where you stand on Panic at the Disco, definitely check this one out, it's worth your time.
For me to come out. Hard times. Gonna make you wonder why you even try. Hard times. Gonna take you down and left for you to cry.
Hard Times is one of the most obviously good songs that everyone loves in a very, very long time. I could tell you about Hayley Williams' fantastic performance here, I could tell you about these incredible lyrics, I could tell you about this amazing instrumental, but really, I just want to figure out why I don't love it. I mean, it's good. It's really, really good. And in my head, when I'm thinking about it and I'm not actually listening to it, I think, maybe this is great, and maybe it's better than I remember. But every time I go and listen to it, it's always just good. And I mean, yeah, I've always known that I'm not a fan of the rock bottom part in the chorus, but that isn't enough to bring the song this far down for me. I truly don't know what it is that isn't clicking. I mean, regardless, the song is still good, and since most people love it more than I do, I'd still recommend it. But truth be told, my favorite thing about this song probably isn't even the song itself. It's a scene that it played in a movie. I don't know if I've ever talked about comfort movies on this channel, but I have a few. Two of them are the Happy Death Day movies. The first one's a 10 out of 10 film, the second one's an 8 out of 10. I reviewed the second one back when it came out, but an 8 out of 10 is still a good score. I think this film is really good, and this scene is incredible. And the same kind of applies to Hard Times itself. It's not quite great like things that came before it, but it's still good, still really good. I still like it a lot, I still enjoy it a lot, and even if I don't love it, who cares? So I guess what I'm saying is that Hard Times is a Happy Death Day to you of songs. Not an analogy I ever thought I'd use, but a good analogy regardless.
Hey, get you back off the wall. Don't you get comfortable? Looking so hot, I think that I might fall.
I will never understand why some people hate this song. I briefly mentioned when talking about Sweet Melody last year that Move is pop perfection, and I still stand by that. The vocals here are phenomenal, with Perry doing the best job here in my opinion, but all four girls are killing it here. The background vocals and harmonies are also top tier. Every melody in this song is incredible and just an earworm on its own. The beat just straight up slaps, and again, referring to the vocals, I love how those are implemented into the production. The build-up is fantastic, everything just works here sound-wise, and the lyrics, whilst not being important to the song, are still very, very good. So yeah, this is a perfect song. I don't really know what there is to hate about it. If you haven't heard this one somehow, go check it out, it's amazing.
In the future, everyone will have the 15 minutes, 15 minutes of shame, 15 minutes where they are unforgivable.
Okay, let me start off by saying that this song is a million times more effective with the music video, so if you want to really get a proper opinion on the song, listen to it on its own first. This music video is fantastic and amplifies the song a ton, but the song itself is just decent. It's a fun little look at hate culture, and for what it is, I enjoy it, but I do think it's flawed. There are points where Tim Minchin's vocal tone leaves a bit to be desired. Some of the effects in the production do not pay off as much as they should. And I wish the tone of the exaggeration in the lyrics was a bit more consistent throughout. At some points it goes a bit more all out, at some points it's a bit more held back. I wish it towed the line a bit better. I am admittedly very glad that they didn't just pick one side and stick with it for the whole song, but 15 minutes crucially needed more balance here. But with all that being said, I do still think this song is worth the listen, and I still do like it. In terms of composition and instrumentation, the song does a pretty great job for the most part. The usage of piano in this song is particularly good. Tim Minchin is still a good vocalist, even if I do wish there was more from his tone. And when the lyrics shine, they truly shine. But yeah, this is a great song trapped inside a decent one made good by a music video. Although I will say this is the ultimate compliment. This feels like the good version of what Shane Dawson was trying to do musically in the early 2010s. Check this one out, folks, it's a lot of fun. Check it out on its own first and then watch the music video, because wow, the music video makes this song sound so much better. people were surprised that there were no Gorillaz songs on my Best of the Year overall video last year, and I was surprised to see that myself. And by that I mean I was surprised to see so many people cared about this album. I mean, it's not bad, it's just really okay, and I think Pac-Man's a great song for what it's worth, but there were a lot of tracks that did absolutely nothing for me on this album, and this includes Désolé. Admittedly, the instrumental on this one is actually pretty good. I really like the bass in particular, and I like the groove the whole song has. But I'm sorry, there is nothing remotely engaging or interesting about these vocal performances, and they don't really fit the beat. I mean, sure, every vocalist here is incredibly talented, but it doesn't feel like any of their potential's utilized. It feels like it's all too held back. I don't really care much for the lyrics either. This song just doesn't do anything for me, at all. It feels like a bunch of individual parts that all probably work really well on their own have been put unfittingly together. You guys know that video where the dude keeps putting the stuff in the square hole on the kid's toy even though it's other shapes? Because even though they're not meant to go through that way, they are still able to because of the sizing. This song reminds me of that. I can't explain how, but it does.
Messing with my head.
So this is the other Illenium song in this video, and the one that as soon as I announced I was doing a grab bag, I knew I was going to get almost instantly. Pretty much every grab bag video I've seen has had this requested immediately, so I knew it was only a matter of time before this one got sent to me, and yeah, this was like the second song requested. People really love this song, and I have a feeling some of you were expecting me to thrash it just because of how I reacted to Nightlight. But as harsh as I was on Nightlight, yeah, you're alright, this is so much worse. When I first heard this song, I thought it was bad and I didn't get the hype, but literally every time I have heard it, it just got worse and worse. As a vocalist, I've never really cared for Jon Bellion, but he's certainly not wowing me here. This is not good even for him. And this production is not doing him any favors. The guitar and drum on the verses are boring, the build-up on the pre-chorus is dull, and god damn it, I hate this drop so much. I'm usually a sucker for robotic vocal layering, but this song even manages to do that wrong. And of course, the bridge combines literally every instrumental aspect about this song that I hate into one. The melodies are awkward and unsatisfying. There are points in the instrumentation where it sounds like they layered it like a millisecond out of sync. They probably didn't, but regardless, it sounds tinny and annoying, and it sounds like an easy fix that probably doesn't even exist. It's infuriating to listen to. But to be fair to this song, its problems aren't all sound. I don't think it's well written either. I will admit that I do like the last two lines of the chorus, but they are not enough to save what is essentially first draft writing for the rest of the song. It's like they had these really good 2 lines, and they wanted to make a song around them, but they had no idea how to do it. And they just wound up with a self-proclaimed sad boy anthem. Worst part is that that's not even me insulting the song. This is from the Genius annotations. Although I suppose you should take this with a grain of salt because they call it a deep dive and there's nothing deep about this. So yeah, I kinda hate this song. Like a lot. 2 good lines are not enough to save a really terrible 3.5-minute song. Usually when I'm in the minority on a song everyone loves, I at least understand why people like it, but not here. Sorry. I covered my overall thoughts on Zed in my Best of the Decade list when talking about Starving, which was on the list, and The Middle, which barely missed it. So I'll just open with this and say that this is Zed's 4th best hit, but that's a good thing. Because as already mentioned, one of his hits was on my Best of the Decade list, and another barely missed it. The guy's a really talented producer, and he shows that off here especially. The production here is immaculate, and fits the mood of the song so perfectly. There are so many tiny ideas coming together to make this song as good as it is. It's like a puzzle. And just like the last puzzle piece, Hayley Williams fits here perfectly. As I already said, she is fantastic on Hard Times, but I think I prefer her here to be honest. Which is a huge compliment because we all know how much some 2010s EDM hits drained the personality of their performers. And the song's extremely well written too, although I will admit it suffers from sunflower syndrome in that it has one really unfitting line that takes you out of it briefly.
I am a fire gasoline.
Okay, this is an interesting setup, I like that line. It's a good way to use fire without it sounding cliched too. What's the payoff?
Come pour yourself all over me.
Yeah, that's a much weaker payoff than it should have been. Also, I'm really not a fan of how that melody slightly slows when it gets to All Over. But hey, it doesn't tank the song, this is still very, very good. I mean, my only real other issue is also related to Sunflower in that this doesn't have much replay value or reason to return to it in my opinion. There are so many great things about this song, but I have so little reason to actually search it out. I don't know, anytime I have any thought about listening to this, it's replaced with incentive to listen to one of the better Zed songs. Regardless, this is still very good, maybe it'll click for me and become great one day, but hey, I still like it a lot. I'd recommend it, but you've all absolutely heard it, so yeah, go stream it again if you want. And before we move on to the next song, I would like to note that Calamite, who submitted this song, also suggested the idea of a Eales remix of Stay the Night in a Twitter group chat, so, things get awkward between us, then we want nearer, lens getting clearer, now I can see all that you are, all that you mean to me, you're my everything, so I'll let you come inside my house, fix us some drinks, then lay on the couch, let all the cosmos pass us by, who cares, I'm yours, you are mine. Are you gonna stay the night? Are you gonna stay the night? Whoa, are you gonna stay the night? Are you gonna stay the night? Stand tall doesn't mean we're bound for life. So are you gonna stay the night? Are you gonna stay the night?
Hey, you little piss baby, you think you're so fucking cool, huh? You think you're so fucking tough? You talk a lot of big game for someone with such a small truck.
All I'm saying is that if someone showed this to Prince Philip... Okay, no, but for real, 100 gecs are amazing. I've listened to everything 100 gecs have put out, and there's very little of theirs that I don't like. And on the flip side, there is quite a lot of theirs that I do love. And I know it's an obvious choice, but screw it, Money Machine's one of their best. Money Machine, like many of 100 gecs songs, is a love it or hate it song to its core. The exact reason someone hates this song is the exact same reason I and many others love it. Except for the criticism that it isn't music, which is just objectively wrong and you're stupid for thinking that. But what turns some off of it is the exact appeal of it for others. The only thing I can really say is that I think it sounds great, I love the melodies, and every lyric is iconic. This song is an absolute blast, but I also 100% understand why someone would despise it. All I can really do is tell you to go listen to it yourself, to be honest, and form your own opinion. This is one of the most polarizing yet extremely influential songs in recent memory, and it's probably a good idea to figure out where you stand on it, be it hating it, or like me, absolutely adoring it.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it, do it better than anybody you ever seen do it.
Power's another one of the really obviously good ones in this video, but this time I actually do love it. Kanye is absolutely killing his performance here, and every line is great, but it's mostly because of the production, to be honest. The sampling is effective and well utilized, I love the percussion, I love the bass that kicks in. The nice kicks of electric guitar are very welcome. The vocal motif plays to the tone very nicely and is instantly memorable. I really love that it just keeps building and building, not stopping until it reaches its peak. And oh wow, this song once it reaches its peak, the entire outro is just gold. Just take my word on this one. Fantastic song, go check it out if you haven't already. Kanye may not be so great now, but that doesn't make his masterpieces from the past any worse.
Can't explain, but I can't live without you. Now I want you. I'm sick of being alone. Lying.
Oh yeah, the other song I knew would be submitted as soon as I announced the grab bag. Y'all remember Bene, the artist who made Super Lonely, the honorary number 11 for my best list last year? Yeah, she has a lot of other stuff too. Most of it's good. This song's same effect comes from her album last year, Hey You X, and yeah, I gotta say, I'm really digging this one. I really love the chilled out, vibey production that still manages to have enough energy to keep you going. There's a really great atmosphere carried throughout this song, I like that a lot. Benny's performance also adds to this atmosphere, although I will admit she is the flaw in this song too, specifically on the first verse where she sounds like a second-rate Lily Allen, which is kind of funny because it's still a better performance than the Lily Allen one on the actual album. And it's not bad at all, it just doesn't feel natural. The rest of the song feels like Benny's actual self, and this first verse doesn't feel genuine per se, even if it sounds alright. And for what it's worth, this song isn't relying entirely on sound, I like the writing too. But yeah, despite its flaws, I do still like this song. It's a nice vibe. It's not Benny's best, I think, honestly. Super Lonely, Blue, some of the other stuff from that first EP she dropped tops this easily. And there's another couple of tracks on Hey UX that I do prefer, but this is still one of the better ones there for sure, and definitely worth checking out.
Ain't nothing in the world that I can say, so I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. She got me on the couch tonight. I did wrong, but I meant to do right now.
You know, with basically every request in this video, I understand why it was requested. I understand why people want me to talk about it. This one puzzles me. I mean, I know this was memed for a little bit, but this is both a bad comedy skit and a bad song. The joke wears thin in record time. The whole "it keeps getting quicker and happening earlier" teehee thing is not funny, it's just kind of annoying. Very few of the jokes here actually land, and sound-wise, it is really not doing itself any favors with this plodding synth, or depending on whether or not you're in the verse or the chorus, the cheap / overdone percussion. The melodies feel weirdly jagged, although that's probably thanks to these performances too. There are 6 vocalists on this track, the main 3 dudes and the 3 women who appear on the bridge. 3 of the performers do a good job. 2 of them are on the bridge and get barely any time. And as for the male performers, you're probably already expecting which one I'm gonna say did a good job, and you're wrong because Chris Red is doing the best of the guys here. I mean, it's nothing great, but he's doing the best he can with this production. Whereas Kenan Thompson's performance is annoyingly flat in its tone until the bridge where he gets to just do some talking, and that's a lot better. And then you have The Weeknd, and I don't remember the last time he sounded nearly this bad. Not only are the notes and the melodies he's given to work with just not good over this production, but at points he even sounds pitchy. How do you take a vocalist this talented and make him sound pitchy? I can't be the only one hearing this riff and thinking it sounds agonizing, right? So yeah, this is just a bad skit with a bad song. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm confused as to what people are seeing in this. Is it just Able hype? Is that it? Is that the thing here? Or is it being memed because it sucks? I have no idea. All I know is that this is a mess barely saved from being absolutely terrible by a couple decent performances. Why listen to this when you could just listen to one of the good SNL songs like Loco or the Friendship song? You know, the ones that don't sound like unfinished first drafts.
Was flying through the fall, but now I've hit a wall and I'm loco, as in my brain done broke-o. But hey, you either laugh or you cry like Coco.
Let's punch her in the face and take her jewels. It's May, we don't play with them April Fools. You should have seen her face. It was me, 80, Katie, and Tina Fey.
Out drinking with my boys late night. Come home to my lady past midnight.
So yeah, this is bad. Very bad. I have to presume that the hype around this one is that it's a meme. I don't know. I really have no idea here.
Say, don't you hesitate, girl, put your records on, tell me your favorite song, yeah, go ahead, let your head down.
Okay, is anyone else noticing that we're getting a lot of hits where it's essentially, hey, you know this other song? Imagine that, but not as good. And I don't even mean songs with butchered sample choices, I mean stuff like this and last year's I Love You Baby. And frankly, I just have a lot of questions. Why is this a hit? Why is this a more popular song than the original ever was? Why has it outpeaked the original on several charts, including the Billboard Hot 100? Who thought this was a good idea? Why was it made? No, not why was it made. Why was it released? Why are Rip Momney attempting to profit off of and capitalize on the controversy surrounding racially significant lines that they covered in this song, and why are they trying to use that in their marketing? Why are they pulling the "we hate this song too lol, go stream the original" when they could just unrelease it? Why am I 1 degree of separation from this song? No, seriously, this song was originally released through DistroKid, which is why I used to distribute my music, including my new album Heartworm, out everywhere now, go stream it. Is the future of popular music just shitty karaoke? Is the future of music just shitty karaoke?
I'm out of love, set me free, and let me out this misery. Show me the way to get my life again. You can't handle me. Said I'm out of love, can you see? Baby, that you gotta set me free. I'm out of love. Yeah.
What's going on?
Ah yes, the mammal, the myth, the legend, Crazy Frog. I'm willing to bet that a third of you were expecting me to completely thrash this, a third of you are expecting me to treat it like some god-given masterpiece, and the other third is just expecting a meme. And I'm sorry to disappoint, but all three of you are wrong. Let me start with the obvious thing though here. This is wonderfully produced. I do not care that this is a cover, the composition here is incredible and all of the little touches that are added for just this cover are amazing. And it's honestly impressive that this doesn't sound dated at all. And on top of that, the chorus just fucking bumps. There are a lot of great elements in how this song sounds, and unfortunately it's contrasted by how bad the filler verses are. I mean, yeah, there's a really good bass line in the back of them, but the lead melody is just incredibly stale. It takes up far too much of the song, and again, it feels like filler. And thanks to the filler verses, the song feels a bit longer than it should, and it begins to wear thin towards the end. It's kind of a shame, because it's really easy to see the great song that's trapped inside of this, but there's just too much holding it back. And the issues are so blatantly fixable and pointless that it's kind of annoying. It's kind of funny to look back on this song considering so many people found it irritating and realize that the most irritating thing about it is the wasted potential. I will recommend it, definitely give it a re-listen because it is much better than you remember it being, but yeah, this should be better. And now, before we round out the video, here's 5 of my own picks because I felt like talking about some more stuff as well. Okay folks, little history lesson. I love the Final Destination movies. I mean, yeah, I only think 2 of the 5 movies are actually great, and 1 of the 5 movies is just straight up bad. But god damn it, I do not care. Final Destination 5, the most recent installment in the franchise, starred Miles Fisher, who also sings, and he had this song, New Romance. And the music video was essentially used for promo for the film, and it is the cast of the movie in the music video doing a crossover of Final Destination and Saved by the Bell. It is essentially 4 minutes of cheesy 90s sitcom stuff, except all of them die gruesome deaths. And look, this song's a lot of fun, I love the retro stylized production, Miles sounds really good, it's well written, it's a fun pop song, but this segment is here just to introduce you guys to this music video. Trust me, you have to check it out. Great song, great music video, an absolute blast, just trust me on this one, okay?
This is heaven. I don't know how this could get much better.
You know, for a while I actually debated doing a full song review on this one, but I think I might just shove it in here. And you're probably wondering, hey, Ben, why did you want to talk about this one so badly that you were actually debating reviewing it? And I'll tell you. Apparently I'm the only person who can't stand a single second of this. Every moment of this god-awful song is just bad decision upon bad decision upon bad decision. The lyrics read like songwriting Mad Libs, all of the melodies are infuriating. Nick Jonas's vocals here are not good, every backing vocal, every harmony, every layer sounds terrible, it's so annoying to me. With the backing vocals on the chorus, they somehow found a way to make vocals sound cheap. Not the vocal production, the vocals. This is like the uncanny valley of singing. And then you have this production, which is just annoying from start to finish. For a large portion of the song, the percussion is mixed way too loudly. The synths sound like a bad 70s knockoff. Every drum fill sounds horrendously dated and has no charm. It's trying to have a ton of energy, but is an absolute slog the entire runtime. The mixing on the bridge is amateur, the transition between the vocals and the saxophone, which is horribly utilized for the record, is oh my, it's just embarrassing. And the kicker is, this isn't even the worst song on the album it's from. This isn't even the second worst song on the album it's from. It is top 3, My plan if I reviewed this in full would have just been to go through it bit by bit, start to finish, and just point out every single nitpick I have for this song, but that isn't as entertaining as a quick summary. I also would have given an overview on the Jonas stuff in general, but honestly, who cares? The song is hot garbage at the end of the day anyways. Oh, and speaking of Jonas stuff...
Talk to me, baby. I'm going up on this, sweet, sweet baby. Whoa.
So I mentioned earlier that I made a mistake. Hey Look Ma, I Made It should have topped my 2019 list instead of Someone You Loved, and it should have been higher on the Worst of the Decade list too. That song is much worse. So since we're doing revisions, this is the worst hit song in the 2010s. Not Miente, not Birthday Cake, this. Quite honestly, Cake by the Ocean is one of my least favorite songs of all time. I'll admit, when I was going through music for the decade end rankings, I kinda had nostalgia goggles on for this one. So when I actually eventually sat down and properly gave it an actual listen and paid attention more, yeah, nothing about this works and I hate every single aspect of this song. Joe Jonas's vocals are god-awful and his falsetto is unbearable. The man can also not enunciate to save his life, as evidenced by how long it took me to realize that the gibberish at the end was actually supposed to be lyrics. The vocal layering is annoying and the inconsistent volume is infuriating. The line delivery feels forced. There is not a single instrumental idea here whatsoever that works, the whole thing just sounds atrocious. I especially cannot stand what appears to be a higher harmony in the guitar section on the second verse. And there is not a single lyric in this entire song that doesn't either make me cringe or make me uncomfortable. The metaphor is gross, the writing's inconsistent, every analogy is just even worse than the last. So yeah, I truly, utterly despise this song with all my heart. This should have been on my Worst of the Decade list. My bad. It is easily the worst hit of the entire 2010s, and easily one of the worst songs I've ever had the displeasure of hearing in my entire life.
What I did well, baby, I tried. They kicked in the front door, click bang, and I hit the floor.
This is such a dreamy, nice song. I love all of the instrumentation here, and Scarlett's such a dynamic presence. She's also responsible for this incredible musical arrangement, including the horns, which are one of the highlights, and of course those fantastic keyboard melodies, who could forget. The melodies float by, performed incredibly well. And as for the lyrics, I will not spoil that joy, just go listen to the song, and then if you don't catch on, listen to it again with the lyrics in front of you. And trust me, you will immediately understand why I'm recommending this one here.
I'm that girl you think that's got it figured out, but I walk around.
Road Between was the first country album I ever loved. There's a good chance it's still my favorite. There's not a single song on the album that isn't good, and most of it's fantastic. However, the track I always found myself considering to be the best one there has always been Nervous Girls. It's a beautiful yet devastating song about the idea of insecurity and how it's okay to not be okay. It explores Lucy Hale's own self-doubts whilst connecting it with the stories of others to create a sense of unity. It doesn't shy away or sugarcoat anything, but it's still comforting to hear. In many ways, this is a crushing song, but it still manages to instill hope by the end of it. It's a kind of inspiring song too. And I mean, considering the title and the content, it's a really great sign that even I'm connecting to it this hard. And of course, the fact that it's musically stunning is also a plus. These melodies are consoling, and Lucy is pouring her emotions into this performance. The instrumental is beautiful and packs all the punch it needs, but never overpowers or oversteps. The clever lyricism is pushed to the forefront, and rightfully so. Honestly, Nervous Girls is one of my favorite songs of all time. If you haven't heard this song, check it out, and also check out the album it's from, Road Between, because that album is absolutely phenomenal. And while we're here, can this song become a grab bag staple? Can this make it into some other grab bag reviews? Because I feel like this song deserves a lot more attention than it gets. Truly powerful stuff. I can't recommend this enough. And with that, we're done here. The grab bag is finished, as is a subscriber special. Thank you all again so much for 500 subscribers, it means the world to me and more. Sorry again for how long this video took to get out, but I hope it was worth the wait. That's the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe, check out my music available on all streaming services. I'm bad at outros, and I'll see you in whatever I do next.